Kendrick Lamar is an American hip-hop artist from Compton, California. He emerged into the industry in 2004 when he released his first mixtape under his stage name K-Dot. Growing up, the streets were the only life he had ever known. Not only did his family have ties to the Crips, but he was affiliated with a street gang known as the Gangster Disciples. Raised in Compton, Kendrick didn't have much. In fact, his family was on welfare and placed in Section 8 housing. Every day was a constant struggle not to become a product of his circumstance. And although all odds were against him, Kendrick Lamar remained a straight A student throughout high school. At the age of 16, he got his big break in the music industry at Top Dawg Entertainment. It wasn't until nearly 6 years later that he began to become established in the hip-hop industry and recognized for his musical abilities. To properly understand Kendrick's lyrics and relate to his pain he is transposing through his art, it is important to understand how he grew up. His music truly serves as an outlet for him to release all the struggles he has been through. Using his platform as an artist, Kendrick has become a strong advocate for social reforms and change for the Black community. His activism stems not only from police violence that has plagued this country for decades, but the abuse of power he witnessed as a kid. 3 songs Kendrick has created or collaborated on that have pushed forth this agenda of racial reforms are Black Friday featuring J. Cole, Freedom with Beyonce, and All Right. All 3 of these songs urge those in the Black community and beyond to be aware of the violence that is going on in America, as well as a means to promote change. Breaking down some of these lyrics within the songs, you are able to see the impact each verse makes and how effectively he uses his influence to get this message of equality across. Choosing a few important verses, Black Friday is the first song I deciphered.
I like my raps extra prolific, some freestyling, no lunch tables and park benches.
The job of an artist is to be a voice for those who do not. And here we see Kendrick is willing to be that person, a voice for the voiceless, and uses his influence for good.
While juggling game banking, my balancing was tremendous.
Although growing up, Kendrick was surrounded by gang life, he never let that life take his eyes away from the prize, to not allow it to consume him, and he hopes others follow his path and don't make the same decisions he was forced to.
Nothing more influential than rap music. I merge jazz fusion with the trap music. I mix black soul with some rock and roll.
This shows his versatility as an artist. He transcends genres by mixing his intensity and passion for his craft with lyrical flexibility and fluidity. He is like no other in this generation. Next, we have Freedom.
Turn the rain on the thunder. Tell a storm I'm new. I'm a walk, I'm a march on the regular. Painted white flags blue.
The first verse references the storm or cloud of racial oppression in America. It invites others to join the movement and get in line ready to march for these rights and freedoms. In the Navy, blue flags represent a surrender or giving up. And here it is declared that no longer will we stop until the job is done. It is time for us to take a stand.
Freedom, freedom, I can't move. Freedom, got me loose, yeah. Freedom, freedom, where are you? 'Cause I need freedom too. I break chains up on myself. Won't let my freedom rot in hell. Hey, I'ma keep running 'cause a winner don't quit on themselves.
This rallies Black individuals, especially women, to demand their freedoms and no longer sit quietly and allow these atrocities to occur. Demand more. These are rally cries of encouragement in which fuel movements like the Black Lives Matter movement to end inequality for people of color in America.
10 Hail Marys, I meditate for practice. Channel 9 News tell me I'm moving backwards.
When Kendrick performed his anthem, All Right, at the BET Awards, he was criticized by Fox News as being counterproductive, and they twisted his message for hope to a negative message of hate and disrespect.
8 blacks left, death is around the corner. 7 misleading statements about my persona. 6 red lights aiming in my direction.
Growing up in Compton, crime and gang violence is very high, making death a legitimate possibility and concern on a daily basis, which is what he refers to here. The 6 lights also refer to that on police cars, and how police are targeting those of color, always assuming they're up to no good.
Open our mind as we cast away oppression. Open the streets and watch our beliefs. You cry my name inside these concrete, I'm praying forever.
Being a product with someone who has made it out of the hood, Kendrick challenges us to open our minds and to imagine the possibilities of what would happen if there were equality, allowing more individuals in these situations to succeed, as opposed to counting them out because of their circumstance.
All's my life I has to fight, nigga. All's my life hard times like, yeah. Bad trips like, yeah.
This was a token phrase in the film Color Purple about slavery, referring to the rough life and struggle the character Alice had to endure, and she would not take the same nonsense any longer. She was demanding more.
But if God got us, then we gon' be alright.
Nigga, we gon' be alright. Nigga, we gon' be alright. We gon' be alright. Do you hear me? Do you feel me? We gon' be alright.
Despite the struggle, it is a message of hope that the Black community can make it through these hard and trying times. Hence, we will be alright. Kendrick tells his audience that living the way he did, there was not much to dream about, and he dares those in similar situations to aspire to be and do more.
When you know, we been hurt, been down before. Nigga, when our pride was low, looking at the world like, where do we go? Nigga.
Showcases the all too familiar idea of being Black in America and the psychological consequences that arise because of it.
And we hate po-po, wanna kill us dead in the street for sure.
This line was inspired by the recent deaths of Eric Garner, Tamir Rice, and Mike Brown, all a result of police brutality.
You want you a house, you a car, 40 acres and a mule, a piano, a guitar, anything.
This refers to the end of slavery, when slaves were promised 40 acres and a mule to start off their new life, many of which never were freed from bondage or received that, even if they were.
Remember, you was conflicted, misusing your influence. Sometimes I did the same, abusing my power full of resentment that turned into a deep depression.
Power has a way of controlling individuals. Similar to how the badge gives a sense of authority to police officers, Kendrick relates to this rush, saying he understands how power can go to someone's head. However, we cannot let that stop us from doing what is right. Abusing the power you hold never works out in the end. Rap is kind of like poetry, a rhythmic way to express your emotion, no rules, no boundaries, only you and your message. It's intense, it's real, it's raw, and these are the key components to all the music Kendrick puts out. It's certainly not for everyone, and not everyone is going to like it. In my opinion, he's a lyrical genius, not bound to the idea of being quote-unquote politically correct, or trapped by the idea of selling for the charts. He speaks his truth, and his truth alone. Songs such as All Right, which have been anthems of hope for the Black communities, fueling movements like the Black Lives Matter movement, have shown that amidst civil unrest, unity is possible. Kendrick is living proof that your situation is not an excuse for your outcome. Those who subscribe to his music are allowed to go through and see his America, and how growing up Black in America is an experience only those who go through can fully grasp and understand. He recognizes the modern Black struggle and the years of oppression that have led up to this point. His music has become a war cry of a generation, desperate for equality, and I believe there is no greater impact you can have as an artist but to use your platform to make a difference, such as Kendrick is doing with his. It has truly been a long time coming, but artists like Kendrick are what we need to make sure that as long as oppression remains, these topics will not subside from the conversation. They will remain relevant and evident in the music produced.